Well, you already showed. She's sorry. Sorry, we'll see. No.
And welcome to this meeting of Woodley Town Council's annual town meeting, held tonight on the 25th of May. Woodley Town Council meetings are now recorded, with recordings streamed live and stored on the council's YouTube channel. By virtue of attending the meeting, you consent to having your image and audio recorded for this purpose. If you do not wish your image and audio to be recorded, then please do not stay for this meeting. For those in attendance, we're not expecting a fire drill tonight, so if you do hear the fire alarm, please head to the nearest fire exit and congregate at the fire assembly point by the Oakwood Centre at the front of Woodford Park. Before we start the meeting, we've just got a couple of business matters to attend to just before we start. So do we have any apologies for absence tonight, Matt?
Yes, we've had apologies from councillors Baker, Bellow, Edwards, Erawala, Firmager, Nagra, Singh, Smith, Taylor and Rowland.
And item 2 on the agenda is just to note the minutes of the annual town meeting, which was held on the 26th of May 2022. That's all in hand. So, we're about to start the actual annual town meeting now. I'm Councillor Janet Sartorell, Woodley Town Mayor. This meeting is an annual opportunity to tell the residents of Woodley what the council has been doing recently and the plans it has in place. It's also an opportunity for residents to ask a question about the work the council does and to make any suggestions for the town. So if any of you would like to ask questions while the presentation is going on, please feel free, rather than wait until the end, but we'll ask questions at the end as well. So this council has had a very busy year. It's invested in many improvements and facilities. I'll talk you through some of these projects. Woodford Park. The council delivered a new destination play area in Woodford Park, providing a high quality play space with inclusivity, that word, designed in it from the outset. The council carried out an extensive consultation as part of the project to make sure that residents and other groups were able to input into the design. We are replacing the timber fencing around the park to keep it safe and secure, and have extended the new pathway around the lake. We have invested in a new pump for the paddling pool to make sure this much valued facility remains in use for years to come. We've also retained the prestigious Green Flag Award for a 5th year running, still the only park in Wokingham Borough to have achieved this status. We installed an additional flagpole and adopted a flag flying policy to recognise important dates throughout the year and to show support for the people of Ukraine by flying their national flag. Woodford Park Leisure Centre. We've invested in Woodford Park Leisure Centre, completely rewiring the building to meet appropriate safety standards and converting lighting to low energy LEDs. The irrigation system, we've replaced the irrigation system at the Bowls Club so that we can better manage the green through the summer months. In the Oakwood Centre, we're currently working on a programme of updating the Oakwood Centre. As you can see in here, work so far include redecorating all of the rooms and replacing the curtains. We're also looking at projects to refurbish the toilets and to upgrade the theatre. We replaced all the signage throughout the parks, open spaces and council buildings to provide better public information. This included accurate location details using what 3 words? The council has had a very busy civic year with successful events including the Jubilee beacon lighting and other Jubilee celebrations, including stones decorated by local children, managing the protocols for public mourning on the passing of Her Majesty the Queen, and more recently the coronation picnic in the park event, and the creation of a living wall, which you can see just out there, coming on lovely, adjacent to the Oakwood Centre. That's to commemorate the coronation of King Charles III. We also held our newly renamed Community Heroes Awards and awarded community grants to local organisations who help the community of Woodley. We also held the first Mayor's Civic event, in which I hosted an afternoon tea to raise money for my chosen charity. May 2023 saw a number of new councillors elected to the town council, and we look forward to serving you, the residents, over this year and beyond. I think if I'm right, we have 9 newly elected councillors. So that's a very short presentation, and I wondered if anybody's got any questions or any comments they'd like to ask the officers of council here to answer any question. We have councillors here to answer any questions. So has anybody got anything or any comments that they would like to give? Hands up. No, anybody, anything else to say? Hello, Carol.
Thank you very much. Every full council, there's 30 minutes beforehand, there's a public forum that people can raise questions, which allows this sort of meeting to happen all through the year. Last year, to make this one a little bit different, a bit more exciting, dare I say, there was presentations from local organisations, volunteers, and we had some really interesting information and to find out a bit more about what volunteers do in our town, which I think is really important. It's a shame we haven't done this year, and I wondered if there was a reason for that.
Yeah. Shall I take that?
Juliet,
Yes, so absolutely, and we do intend to do it again next year. It's just with some of the staff shortages amongst the officers and the fact that there was an election this year, they just simply didn't have the capacity to help organise. But we are in the process of setting up a working party, Matthew.
It'll be a subcommittee.
It'll be a subcommittee. So pretty much what we did last year. So Richard and I worked on that with a couple of other people. So we're absolutely planning to do that again next year.
Yes, good evening, Councillor Mike Kennedy, Bulbush. This is an opportunity for residents to ask any question, not just necessarily which affects Woodley Town Council, but if you've got any issues related to the town itself, it may not be our area of responsibility, but we will be able to try and progress your issue. So please don't feel that you have reserved, that you have to stick to issues that relate to the Woodley Town Council. So if there are any matters that are the responsibility for Woodley Borough, the Town Council can use its influence and put pressure on the Borough Council to move things along. So please don't be reserved, speak up, we'd like to hear from you.
thank you.
With regard to the park,
Yeah.
I did drop a letter in quite a time ago that in the evening it's very pleasant at my age to come for a walk around the park. But in the winter, you've got a tarmac path up 2 sides and you haven't got one over the far side. And I did say, could you put that into the consideration of things to be done?
Kevin?
Yeah, do you mean around the back of the football pitch side, right?
Yeah,
at the
so
back?
over the far side, on the back of the houses,
Yeah.
that run along that side.
Yeah, so that is one of the items that's going on this year's project list. We've got quite a few projects to add to that. But yeah, that's been one that's been mentioned a few times. So we will be putting that on the list and costing it up. So
Don't be shy. Mr. Santarell?
Good evening, Jack. There is a piece of ground that's been worn away that comes from the signpost at the base of the hill and comes up towards here that people have used as a shortcut. And are there any considerations to have it replanted green grass or to have it tarmac?
yeah, we're looking at probably something that's more ground reinforcement rather than necessarily a tarmac path right across there, but something that will reinforce the grass at a decent width. So that it doesn't wear away in the same way. You're absolutely right. We're not going to stop people walking along there. It's very much an established route. So that is another project on the list to reinforce that ground.
I was asked that by a member of the public when I was out there a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
it's one that's-
It's quite good as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? Go on.
I'm going to ask Councillor Mike Kennedy again. This was put to me only lunchtime today. Why are the grass verges so high? Does the council have a no-mow policy? And there was a view expressed that the verges were so high that it's becoming a danger to motorists and pedestrians. I wonder whether, I know we all know it's a borough council responsibility, but has the town council ever considered giving the borough council extra resources to cut the grass more often, perhaps to an amenity standard rather than the 2 foot high grass verge that we do see in some of our roads?
Something that might be relevant to that, the Planning Community Committee this week, Councillor Lewis actually, I think, brought up that issue specifically in relation to roundabouts where along the A4, where that's been an issue more recently with the height of vegetation. And a request has come from that for us to write to Woking Borough Council about that, which I know Matthew's done. In the sort of wider context, I think we can certainly pass on those comments about that. I think we're well placed to do that. I think funding would be a very different question, but that would be something for the council to consider. But certainly in terms of forwarding those comments on, yeah, can do that.
Yeah, and there is a no-mow policy, obviously to support wildlife and some of the big corridors that we've got. I think it's just been a happy circumstance of the weather. It's been particularly wet, and it's grown probably higher than normal because normally in May you can still see under it. So I think perhaps this year is an exception.
I think I can see, I think I can understand that when you have an area more suitable for wildlife or wildflowers or whatever, then there's a hesitancy to cut the grass. But the grass in the majority of road verges at the moment I would say it's a disgrace compared with the standard that one had expected in the past. And I wondered if the council have any views on that.
Yes, I think that, as Kevin said, you are quite well aware of it. And we've had an exceptional May where everything is just growing like mad at the moment.
Yeah, and I think there are different views about it.
Yeah, I don't think the borough council has actually stated its policy at the moment. It's very vague. Cut the grass when we cut the grass. I thought that a couple of years ago they cut 2 strips up on Bournemouth for wildflowers to grow, and I wondered whether this was going to be a success. I thought it was a total success, but this year it seems to have deteriorated, and it's just growing in with the rest of the park. They're just areas that
Yes.
come to
Whilst
attention.
they're not in flower, it doesn't always look very good. But when when the wildflowers are out, it looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it?
Well, they then cut it at the end of the season.
Yeah, they push the seed and then
But this year, the whole thing is just disintegrated.
Yeah. That's a shame.
I mean, but one thing we can do is find out what that policy is and publicise that through our website as well. So
Right, do we have any more questions? I don't like this.
One other thing that's been raised by people just talking, the carnival, there's no OAP rate. And being an OAP, I wonder why that is.
Has there been one
Generally,
before?
local authority events, you generally bear in mind.
It's not a local authority event. I just correct you. So the carnival is run by a bunch of volunteers. It is not a town council event.
Right.
It is run, and that's under the deputy
I
chairman. of it.
understand that, but it's being held in that.
It is, but it's gifted to us that day, so it's nothing to do with the council. I will absolutely take that back. We have that comment every year. What we've tried to do is keep the prices low so that everybody can come, because obviously we barely cover the cost. The carnival costs £60,000 to put on. We barely cover that. We make about 2-3 grand a year, enough to give to some charities, and that's it. So we absolutely keep the costs low. It's £5 for the whole afternoon, £10 for all the afternoon and the evening, but I will absolutely take that back to the Carnival Committee, who are meeting next Thursday, and represent your views to them. We have discussed it at length, I promise you, and it's not to say it won't happen next year, but we need to find margins where we can to make enough money to cover the costs.
I understand.
Right, do we have any more questions or anything anybody would like to say? No? Well, I think in that case, then I am going to thank you all for coming. Very short meeting, but I hope you've heard everything you would like to hear. And thank you very much all for coming, and I will bring this meeting to a close. Thank you all.